Tracy Savage. A record-breaking day in the Miami Valley. The temperature and this area's power usage soared. Coming up, I'll have a live report.
2 persons are shot in Dayton tonight. 1 person dies in a head-on crash near Richmond.
High radon levels are confirmed at the State House, and Kettering's multi-million-dollar new development will mean hundreds of jobs. I'm Deborah Countess.
I'm Jim Baldridge. News Center 7 is next.
From the Miami Valley's leading news station, this is News Center 7 at 11 o'clock with Jim Baldridge, Deborah Countess, AccuWeather with Bruce Asbury, and Sports with Mike Hartsock.
2 people are shot tonight on a city street.
The top story of the day in Dayton and around the U.S., it's the heat. It was hot. It is still hot, and it will continue to be hot in the Miami Valley as this area is hit by a heat wave that is breaking records right and left. News Center 7's Tracy Savage joins us with a live report. Tracy, how hot is it right now where you are?
Well, Jim, let's take a look right now. According to this outdoor thermometer here on Wilmington Avenue in Kettering, at 12:01, it is a cool 83 degrees. Now, I say cool because this afternoon it hit 98 degrees out at the airport. Now, that sets a new record for this day in this area. It's a new record, but it wasn't the only record that was set today. Dayton Power and Light also has a new record to add to the books. At 5 p.m., power usage in the Miami Valley peaked at a new all-time high. The level, 2,346,000 kilowatts. That's 9,000 kilowatts above the record set last year. So what does it mean? Well, it means there are a lot of air conditioners running, and it means DP&L is having to work extra hard to power them.
The system is fine, and we've planned for high usage. We have all of our units are up and running. We have folks that are standing by at night in case there are problems with individual residences and transformers that can occur when it's very warm.
Alan Hill says DP&L has strong interties with other utilities in the state. If the area demands more electricity than DP&L could supply, the other utilities can be called on.
So we're not saying stop using your air conditioner?
No, we're not saying stop using anything.
Which comes as good news to area residents.
I couldn't live without it. I need the heat gets to me, so I'd have to have my air conditioner going.
I don't think we'd sleep if we didn't, not when it's this hot.
Today I almost panicked because there was like a little power surge or something and the air conditioner went off, and I go, oh no, let anything happen but not the air conditioner go off.
Now, just a report, earlier tonight about 1,700 residents in Oakwood lost power. But as it turns out, it wasn't due to the heat, it wasn't due to excess power usage, it was due to some kind of trouble in the line, and after about an hour that power was restored and they were able to fire up their air conditioners again. Let's take a final look at the temperature right now. And at 12:03 in the Kettering-Dayton area, the temperature is 82 degrees, a little bit of relief. It's dropped 1 degree. Reporting live in Kettering, I'm Tracy Savage. Now let's go back to News Center 7.
Jim, earlier this evening, shelters for the homeless began filling up, but not all of them because of the heat. The Salvation Army shelter was at near full capacity, despite the fact that it doesn't have an air conditioner. House Manager James Murphy says most of the men who checked in are trying to come to grips with alcohol or drug problems.
So these guys are really sincere, and they're not here because of the heat, because there's no air conditioning yet. Yeah. We're not in our new building yet, which we will have air conditioning, but these guys are really sincere.
A lot of people this evening opted for a little breeze on the front porch and a little breezy conversation rather than staying cooped up inside non-air-conditioned homes. Others found comfort from their garden hoses. Dayton area hospitals tonight reported no cases of heat-related illnesses. Of course, what we all want to know now is how long is this going to last?
Well, a while longer. By the way, I want to tell our friends at the Kettering carryout to set their clock. It said 12:03 p.m. It's 12:03 a.m. The thing is, we have some very warm temperatures out to our west. In fact, Chicago, for the second day in a row, had 100 degrees. They had 104 yesterday. They were 100 again today. We are very likely going to get to 100 again tomorrow. We have a flow of air from out in that direction, so we're going to predict a high temperature of 98 for tomorrow, only mainly because it's so rare that we ever get 100. But there's a good shot at 100 degrees here in Dayton tomorrow. Our next relief should come from this front, which should come through sometime tomorrow night. It may bring us some rain, definitely cooler temperatures for Thursday. But they won't last long. We'll be back in the cooker again by the weekend. We'll have the AccuWeather forecast coming up shortly.
2 persons were shot tonight on Xenia Avenue in Dayton, but just how it happened and how seriously they are wounded is not clear. Apparently, both of the shooting victims were motorists. It happened about 10:45 tonight in the 1600 block of Xenia Avenue. Some people in the area say there was an argument of some kind before the shooting, but that even has not been confirmed. Both shooting victims are males, and both are being examined right now at Miami Valley Hospital. The Ohio Department of Health now confirms that radon problem we reported at the Ohio State House in Columbus. News Center 7 first reported the high levels of radioactive radon gas in the building. The Ohio Health Department conducted its own investigation and determined that about half the basement offices tested have more radon than the U.S. EPA recommends for homes. Radon can cause cancer over time, and one reading was 5 times the EPA's guideline. News Center 7's Dave Freeman made the initial finding as part of his Project Radon. Health officials say the find will lead to more testing of large commercial buildings.
One woman is dead and a little boy is fighting for his life tonight after a head-on collision just outside Richmond. Police say the crash happened on Route 227 when the driver of a dump truck lost control, swerved across the center line, and struck an oncoming car. It took rescue crews over an hour to pull the victims from the wreckage. They literally had to cut the car into pieces to get them out. Police say the driver of the car, whose name is not being released, was killed instantly. Her young passenger, 6-year-old Benjamin Harshman Davis of Camden, is in critical condition at Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. The driver of the truck escaped with only minor injuries. The local sheriff's department is still investigating. Police officials say a seatbelt probably helped save the life of a Fairborn woman who apparently fell asleep at the wheel and smashed into 2 parked cars this morning on I-675. 45-year-old Lynn Kessel was taken by Care Flight helicopter to Miami Valley Hospital. She's now enlisted in fair condition. The accident occurred on I-675 near Route 35 in Beaver Creek. The top of her car was sheared off when it slid beneath the second truck.
Kettering announced today it is developing a major industrial park, and already it has 2 key tenants. The park could be a $70 million project and mean hundreds of new jobs. News Center 7's Don Mills reports.
The industrial park will be along David Road in the area of the old Captain Kidd Drive-In. Development will be in 2 phases. First, Delco Products will build a new manufacturing plant south of David Road on 10 acres of land. Construction begins immediately. It'll be complete this year. People will be hired off the street.
Jobs, initially, we see 60 being put on this year, and then as we grow into this full Saturn program, probably total employment at this site will be approximately 150 people.
But other jobs will come as well. North of David Road, a new Meijer store will go in on 40 acres. 500 to 600 jobs are expected here. Construction begins in 1989. Kettering officials say they're already talking to 2 other businesses about locating in the park, and they say the park will represent a $70 million project. Those locating in the park are receiving tax incentives. It's called tax increment financing.
The owners of the land make payments in lieu of taxes, and then that money is put back into the utility costs that go into the project over a long period of time.
Kettering officials say they've been planning this project for about 6 months. Don Mills, News Center 7.
Local communities joined forces to declare war on drugs.
And drug money creates a controversy in Troy. Those stories when we return.
Hey, Bruce, today was a great day for swimming. What's tomorrow going to be like?
Stay by the pool, guys. We might hit 100 tomorrow. We'll have the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
They say it's probably the single most effective weapon in the fight against drugs. Cooperation between police departments and other law enforcement agencies. Today, area officials unveiled Project CANE. That's Combined Agencies for Narcotics Enforcement. A total of 34 local, state, and federal agencies will take part in a county-wide task force.
There's no doubt in my mind that we can deal aggressively with the problem of drug trafficking and drug abuse here in Montgomery County by working together.
Local police have been frustrated because while they've been able to nab the buyers, the little guys, they have not had much success getting at the suppliers. And that is the goal of Project Cain.
Deborah, legal maneuvering is continuing right now in a Miami County court and in federal court over the return of $12,000 in cash. It was confiscated earlier this year by the Ohio State Patrol during a drug arrest. Steve Baker explains.
A hearing this morning in Miami County Municipal Court in Troy lasted just long enough for Judge William E. Kessler to continue the hearing indefinitely, even though the judge believes that he had the right to move forward today, despite the filing in U.S. federal court in Dayton on Monday, legal papers in an attempt to prohibit further proceedings. The case involves $12,000 in cash confiscated by the State Highway Patrol during the arrest of 3 suspects back in January of this year near Troy. The trio were charged with aggravated drug trafficking, though charges that were later dismissed. The money was seized through a search warrant and later turned over to the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration. The attorney for the 3 men wants the money returned. That's one issue. The arresting State Highway Patrol trooper spent 4 hours in the county jail on a contempt charge for failing to appear in court back in February with the money. That issue is also tied up in federal court in Dayton. In Miami County, Steve Baker, News Center 7.
Believe it or not, the basketball season is finally over as the Lakers add another chapter to the record book, but it was not a record-setting night for the Reds rookie pitcher Jack Armstrong. Buddy Bell comes back to haunt his old teammates. Highlights, scores, and more coming up in sports.
83 degrees at midnight, and tomorrow's going to get what, maybe 100 degrees?
We may get 100 tomorrow. There's no reason to think we won't. We're predicting 98 only because it so rarely ever hits 100 here, and we're just kind of a little bit chicken to predict 100, you know. But I think it will hit 100 tomorrow, especially, maybe not at the airport, but especially on your home thermometer. It very likely will. In fact, there were some 100-degree readings and more here in the area today. The Kettering carryout down the street had 101 in the middle of the afternoon. Situation is this, but their clock wasn't right anyway, so what the heck. Here's the situation. Very warm air in our area. Thunder showers down to the south of us. A ridge of high pressure bringing plenty of sunshine to the midwestern part of the country. Look at tomorrow's map, and you'll see that things are not much different, but we do have a cool front bearing down on us tomorrow. The surge of air from the southwest from this high ahead of that cool front will very likely bring us a temperature of 100 degrees or so around 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Then this cool front will bear down on us. We should get a shower or two from that front tomorrow night or early Thursday morning. By this time on Thursday, the front will be pretty far to the south. Well, not really all that far to the south of us, but south of us at any rate. So we'll look for some showers tomorrow night and Thursday morning. Cooler temperatures with this high circulating northerly air into our area on Thursday. Temperatures around 85 on Thursday and Friday. Then back into the pressure cooker for the weekend, and we should be back in the mid-90s, I'm afraid, by next week. Doppler storm eye radar, 150-mile range. Sky conditions are clear for the most part, and temperatures are in the 70s and 80s. And around the country today, out west, 75 in L.A. and San Francisco, and that's Las Vegas, isn't it? 110 in Phoenix, 99 in Kansas City, 98 for a high here. Forecast in just a minute.
The weather report is brought to you in part by Voss Chevrolet.
Our barometer is steady. The humidity at 49%. West winds are at 8 miles an hour. Current temperature at 82 degrees. Our high today was 98. Our low was 73. 83 and 62 the normals for today. Overnight, warm conditions, about 74 for a low. Tomorrow, we should have a hot and humid day with 98. That humidity is going to help us a little bit, though. We might get some rainfall tomorrow night, some heavy rain because of it, because of that cool front coming down at us from the north. Once it collides with the heat and humidity, it should kick off some thunderstorms, a low of 70 tomorrow night. For Thursday, not quite as hot, a high of 85. Friday, a nice day with sunny skies and 85. Then partly sunny and hot on Saturday and 92, and should be around 95 or thereabouts on Sunday as we get back into the hot and humid mid-90s for the first part of next week. 7 a.m. sunshine, 77 at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Faraway places, Rosebud, Pennsylvania, Rose Hill, Tennessee, Rose City, Texas. We thank the Richmond Rose Festival that's going on, and Jim is chomping at the bit to do that parade on Sunday, right? And for now, that's a look at the weather at, 20 minutes after midnight almost.
Thanks, Bruce. After meeting for 3 days with other major Western leaders in Toronto, President Reagan says the summit nations can be partners in a great venture of progress. Reagan hailed the progress made by the 7 democracies since the first summit he attended. He says the economies of all of the countries have come roaring back. At a post-summit news conference, the president was questioned about the fraud and bribery scandal that's gripped the Pentagon and major defense contractors. Reagan says it's understandable that such things can happen because the U.S. government is so big. He says it should be remembered that a single tip prompted the probe. Basketball season just officially ended tonight, but don't we have our systems a little...
I thought it was nice of the NBA to get done right in the middle of the baseball season. You know, so let's talk baseball first. The Reds with a look at the past, the present, and the future all in one night tonight. The future, rookie pitcher Jack Armstrong threw 6 strong innings of one-hit shutout baseball against the Astros, but he was haunted by the past. Ex-Red Buddy Bell, who came through in the clutch. The result? Back to the present, Cincinnati slides back down in the West. Now, the Reds got the first break of the game in the first inning. Astros ace Mike Scott forced to field a throw right here. He pulls a hamstring muscle, and Scott has to leave with 2 outs in the first inning. That looked like a big break for the Reds because Mike Scott almost unbeatable at home. Chris Sabo hits this one off Joaquin Andujar down the left field line. It's going to score the first run of the game. The Reds had a 1-0 lead in the third inning. Stayed that way until the 7th. Armstrong against Buddy Bell, and the ex-Red says, hey, fellas, I'm not done yet. I'm not too old just yet. Buddy hits one ground rule double over the left field wall. It scores the run. Bell would come home to give the go-ahead run a bit later, and then still in the same inning, the Astros pull off the double steal as Terry McGriff drops the ball at home plate. Houston goes on to a 3-1 win. Armstrong, the loser, he is 0-1, but he's going to have plenty of victories in a Reds uniform. Larry Anderson picks up the victory. He is 2-3. Elsewhere, Kevin McReynolds, a grand slam home run as the Mets beat the Pirates 9-0. Philadelphia over Chicago 6-1, and Montreal shuts out St. Louis. Alan Trammell with a grand slam with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Tigers come from behind to beat the Yankees 7-6. Boston over the Tribe 10-6. Baltimore doubles up Toronto. Kansas City beats Chicago. Oakland over Milwaukee. It was California in 10 over the Twins, and finally Texas shuts out Seattle. That one was 6-0. Well, a year ago, Lakers head coach Pat Riley promised his team would win the NBA title this season. It took a while, but L.A. finally proved the coach was right. The Lakers surviving their 7th game of the playoffs to become the first repeat world champion in 19 years. If you missed it, yes, Isaiah Thomas played, and yes, he kissed Magic Johnson before the game. Isaiah scored 10 points in the first half as the Pistons built a 5-point lead at the break. But Pat Riley said something right in the locker room at halftime. Watch right here. Out on the bust out, it's going to be James Worthy on the break. He gets it from Magic. Worthy had 36 points, the MVP of the championship series, and the Lakers just outran the Pistons, although Detroit made a nice rally. It was going to be too much L.A. in the Forum tonight. Watch Byron Scott, 2 of his 21, as we go to the scoreboard and check it out. 108-105. The Lakers are the first repeat champions in 19 years as they win not the NFL, they win the NBA championship. I'll be back with tennis and more Tuesday Night Sports in just a minute. You stay right there. A pretty routine day on the grass courts in Wimbledon. About the only excitement, the return of John McEnroe, the 3-time Wimbledon champ, back after a 3-year absence. He won an easy opening round match today. And talk about easy, top seed Steffi Graf didn't lose a game in her first round thumping of Hunan. Take a look at the fishing forecast for you midweek anglers. Try your luck tomorrow night, 9 o'clock the peak fishing time, but we are never in the super range for a Wednesday. Once again, the Reds lose and the LA Lakers are once again NBA champions. That's going to do it for a late night Tuesday in sports.
The Children's Medical Center in Dayton says it is seeing an unusual outbreak of chickenpox, including serious cases requiring hospitalization. The medical center official says 6 children have been hospitalized with complications of chickenpox, this only in the past week and a half. Normally, the spokesperson says, doctors might see 2 or 3 cases like that in a 6-month period. But the Montgomery County Health Department says so far chickenpox is really not a major worry. A health official says countywide chickenpox is up only a little from last year, and spring is always a big season for it. A local radio station is getting a new owner and a new location. WDAO Radio has been purchased by a group of investors headed by current General Manager Jim Johnson. Johnson says he doesn't plan any major format changes at the station, although the station's news department may be expanded. WDAO will move from its studios on Cincinnati Street within 3 months. So far, no new location has been announced. The price of WDAO, $750,000. Thanks for being with us.
Good night.